Good morning, my darlings. It's Friday, the end of the week. How is everybody doing? I put up a podcast yesterday with Chad Bird. Go to jonathanpuddle.com/podcast. Have a listen in. Chad is this wonderful lover of Jesus who teaches in the Lutheran tradition and has an amazing grasp on freedom in Christ, which is, as you may know, one of my major things. Freedom and love. I asked Chad to describe the point of Christianity or to characterize the Christian life, and he said, well, it would be acts of love freely done for the benefit of others. Like, bingo. Perfect. So here is your daily reminder to do acts of love freely for the service of others. And, since we're talking about owning our love, acts of love freely done for the service of yourself. Not self-serving, but sacrificial for you. That your heart would be cherished and loved and cared for by you. We had our home group here last night, and I read through a section of Sarah Ball's book, Fearless in 21 Days, that you've probably heard me talk a lot about, that I'm doing in my book study and my Patreon, which you can join anytime, patreon.com/jonathanpuddle. And she's got a reading in there for the loved ones of people suffering depression or anxiety, panic attacks, and so on. How you can help. And there's all this, she's done a really wonderfully practical job of explaining how we can help our loved ones with anxiety. Create space for them to rest. Don't force them to do anything. But, observe when they get stuck and give them that little push when they're stuck. Give them verbal permission to rest. Give them verbal permission to not be busy. There's a whole bunch of little things in there, but as I was reading through it, I was reminded of the importance of doing so much of that for ourselves. Give yourself permission to rest. Give yourself permission to heal. Ask yourself how you're doing with specifics. Jonathan, what have you been anxious about lately? Jonathan, how are you sleeping at night? Jonathan, what fears are currently rattling around in your head? Because if we don't get specific, we're just going to say, I guess I'm fine, or I guess I'm okay. Right? Like when my children get home from school and I say, how was school? And they're like, fine, what did you do today? Nothing. So that doesn't help. Specific questions asked of us by others helps, and helps ourselves too when we reflect and ask ourselves those questions. Sociologists and psychologists call it self-compassionate mindfulness. To take compassion on ourselves. And the method I often use is to imagine myself as a child sitting in my lap. Because I'm not going to say those harsh things to a child that I say to my adult self, that I used to say to my adult self. I'm getting way better at it though now. When I find... Okay, this morning we are getting out the door. Again, I'll flip the camera. There we go. See, that's the space where a lot of my stress happens. Right there. Every morning as I'm trying to get my children out the door. And my daughter wanted to wear different sunglasses. She wanted to wear her brother's sunglasses. And she freaked out, took her sunglasses off, threw them at his feet, and I kind of freaked out. I grabbed her, got down on her level, and I was like, what are you doing? And she was very pouty. And I was already catching myself. I was like, I've already gone too far here. Why am I gripping her arm so tight? Okay, It's sunglasses. They probably cost $2. Relax. So, I'm trying to, okay, she's leaving this to go to school. Let me at least try to be kind and wish her a wonderful day. So she's gone. They've gone to school. And normally this is where I would really beat myself up. Jonathan, you lost your cool over a tiny issue. What's wrong with you? Why are you such an idiot? You're a terrible dad. And all this condemnation would come on me. And this morning I was able to go, well, that wasn't great. I screwed that up. But she'll be okay. Within a couple of minutes of walking with her brothers, I'm sure she will have moved on. And I am a flawed person who makes mistakes, and God delights in me, and I delight in me, and we can pick up and keep going. And it was like an honest admission that I'd screwed up, and then total grace for myself. And within 15 to 20 seconds, I had moved on. I wasn't beating myself up. I wasn't crushed in self-loathing or guilt or condemnation. Sometimes that kind of thing in the morning and my own anger rising up and then my own frustration with myself, that can take me out for half a day. I've got to go down to my basement where I've got a punching bag and get all my aggression out and my self-loathing out. 15 seconds today. Jonathan, that happened. And sometimes you screw things up. And so do my kids, and so does my wife, and so does all of us. And God still delights in us. And I'm going to still delight in you. You are not a screw-up. You're just a human. And humans are capable of doing wonderful things. And humans sometimes forget. So, be kind to yourself. Shower love, sacrificial love on yourself. Let's practice. Put your hand on your heart and repeat after me. Use your own name. Jonathan, I love you. Jonathan, you are created in God's image. You are beautiful. You are powerful. You are free. You are only just getting started. You have so much more to discover. You are worth discovering. Feel your heart emotionally in response to what you've just said. Welcome whatever the output of your heart is. If it feels super weird, that's okay. Just be honest in your heart and welcome it. Jonathan, I love you. I'm so proud of you. You're really quite something. You're really quite wonderful. Jonathan, when God looks at you, he smiles. Can you access a feeling of gratitude? See if you can think of something and draw up the sensation of thankfulness and gratitude. Now, aim it upwards at your Father in heaven. Express thankfulness to God for creating you. Emote towards Him. And then feel His love come back towards you. I can feel it settling on my shoulders. Jonathan, you are allowed to live in this love every moment of every day forever. Thank you guys for joining me this morning. If this is new or weird, go back and check out some of my earlier videos and you can get a whole context for this self-love journey. And go to jonathanpuddle.com/podcast and check out the interview I just put up with Chad Bird called Upside Down Spirituality. And it may make your day. Bless you, my friends. Bye now.